Toronto, where another major search is underway. It's a manhunt for those responsible for wounding two sisters, aged 5 and 9, in a playground of a housing complex.
The shooting left its mark, a path of bullet holes through this fence towards the park. 10 in...
Hopefully I can answer some questions or ask some questions and we can put it down and make it the beginning of our change in here in our community. Right, Miss Kelly Promo? So we're going to ask the members of the panel right now to come to the stage so we can get the show started.
Some of the questions that have been circulating the whole evening, basically, how does the violence in our city affect you as a community member, and how does the violence in the city affect you as a promoter, as a business owner, when you're having an event and people are coming and fighting and shooting up, right? So these are just some things we want to ask, as well as we want your opinions, we want suggestions, and we want some solutions, because this is just a launch event. We're going to have a bigger peace rally. So we definitely want everybody to come closer if we can even. Okay, so we're going to get started. Mitzi, Blair, we're going to have you start with a few questions.
All the dangers that are out there in this world. And if we continue to teach our children and our peers, a community, because it takes not just one person to raise their child, it takes a community. So if we all join together, which we're doing now, and just teach our kids, love our kids, and let them know what the dangers are, I feel like that can help reduce a lot of the gun violence and a lot of the violence that's happening. So with that being said, I don't know, how do you feel about that, Michelle? You're a very strong activist in the community yourself, I know that. So I'm gonna make you take it away.
Thank you guys for all coming out tonight. I guess for me personally, as a mother of two children, 24 and 18, and especially a young son, I personally have been able to utilize the strengths of the men that are in my community. Andre was here, where is he? He's not here right now, or I think he's around the place. And I remember when my son was 13 and I was really having a hard time with figuring out how am I going to help him turn into the man that he needs to be. I reached out for help, and I think that as a community, now that we've gotten together, I think we need to be more aware of the people that are in the community that can help us as parents instill some of the values that might be missing. The reality is that a lot of us are single parents, and we can't hide behind that fact. Being a single parent is strength. However, we really do need the assistance of the community organizations and the individuals in the community that have a strong presence to help us. So I would hope that this night is one of those nights that, the people who feel that they are able to help the mothers,
Okay, so we want to get excited about what we're doing right now. So we're asking everyone, I know we're here to lounge and to eat and to drink, but we're also here not to sit pretty and talk to each other. We want everyone to get involved. Is that okay? Is that why we're here tonight? Okay, so we're asking everyone just to come a little bit closer so we can actually have a community conversation. Is that good? Because Jay is talking and she's making some valuable points, but I'm sure you're not hearing her, right? And you're not really paying attention. So please, let's get involved and do this right.
So we're just waiting for one cameraman, but in the meantime, we're going to continue to talk how this is affecting us as business owners, promoters, and just people of our community. So actually first I'm going to have Ms. Ghetto Stories give us a little talk while we're waiting. Thank you.
Good evening, community. How y'all doing tonight? It is an honor to be sitting here so we can have the much needed conversations about violence that's been happening in our community. But if anybody knows anything about when things happen, there's a root cause for everything. So everything comes back to us as a community. Why? We know all the questions. What we're looking for right now is, a lack of a better word, an answer. And for me this evening, this process is part of the answer. Because one of the things that we don't do enough is we don't communicate enough. We communicate in silos, we communicate in neighborhoods, we communicate in our living rooms, or in our groups, but we don't communicate as a community. And that's where we need to start having the conversations as a community. And the community is not necessarily your child, but the old proverb said, you know, it takes a village, not just any village, it takes a healthy village. So if the village isn't healthy, our communities are not going to be healthy. So we got to start having those real, authentic conversations, because there's many conversations to be had, but if they're not authentic, if they're not productive, if we're coming in a space where we're judging and we're ready to preach at people, nothing's gonna happen. So I'm honored to be sitting here with everyone tonight. I'm honored to see the community that has come out so we can start breaking down these barriers and having these real conversations so we can get to the part of solutions. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, once again. Thanks for coming out. I'm just going to give you a little personal story about my daughter's best friend that was killed at the age of 16. And I was at work, and the phone rang, and she's just screaming in the phone. At this point, I thought she was hurt, or someone was hurting her. And I stopped what I was doing. She says, they killed O'Shea. I was like, they did what? And she said nothing more. And I left my client undone, and I drove 160 miles per hour, I kid you not, to get to my daughter, because that was her best friend. She spent hours with him the day before. They were making plans for the summer to do things, and they killed him. And I'm like, wow. And to find out it was another teenage boy that did the killing. So our teenagers are getting guns. How are they getting the gun? How can they afford these guns? How are these guns coming into our community for them to have access to these guns? And the authorities, we ask the questions over and over, we get no answer. We wait until one of our youths are dead, we have one of these little meetings. Like, we can't just have the meetings when it's affecting one of us. It has to be something continuously. We may not have an answer to the questions that we're asking, but by us getting together and showing our community and showing our leaders that this is really affecting us. And it's not just affecting us as Black people, it's affecting every generation, every culture, I must say. So by you guys being here tonight, voicing your opinions, listening to us, asking questions, we might just get to the thing that we need to stop the gun violence, you know what I'm saying? So thanks again for coming out, and it's an honor to be here with everyone that took the time out, because we all have busy schedules. So thanks again, we really appreciate the love.
I just want to say a pleasant good evening to everyone. We're actually taking the time out to be here and to share and participate in the entire role of looking at violence. Now, one of the fundamental principles one has to understand that violence will ever be around. The fact is, how do we engage into violence, and how and where it started from? It started from inside the home. It started from single parenting. It started from poverty. It started from what children see on television. What we have to do is focus on solutions. If there isn't any solution, then there will continue to be rising violence in our community. And so, for everyone that is here tonight, is able to lead with some sort of solution, and you can go out there and convert one person, just one person, then we're better.
I want to say that I do agree with you about, the home and where it starts from. And yes, sometimes when you have a single parent home, it's more difficult. But I don't feel like we should blame the government. I just feel like we should blame the mindsets of where the children are coming from. Because if we instill value and we instill a different kind of mindset in our children to let them know that they're greater than and that they are capable of achieving certain things, and I think that will steer them in a better way, and having a strong foundation of grandma, aunties, and uncles in the community that will educate them. So I don't really feel like the government is much to blame. It's more the mindset.
Anywhere you live and it's being governed, they play a part. The government set the rules and regulation of the society. And if the government says you cannot scold your child because you're abusing, and that child realizes, they don't take advantage of that. So the government, the parents, the aunts, the uncle are responsible for the violence. And when you talk about violence and you get into gun, if you extend it there, I'm positively sure the mom and the pop shop around not producing guns. So it goes back to the government allowing the access of these weapons to be out there for these kids to get. And they don't care. If you look at it fundamentally, everything is a money-making thing. When your kid gets into trouble and goes to jail, who make money? The lawyers, the judges, and they allow them to repeat. Because if your child goes to prison, there's no rehabilitation. They put them there and they live a very fancy life on vacation. What is it that they do? Yes, some might go back to school, educate themselves. Some just say, okay, I'll sit here as soon as I get out. They make friends and it continues because there's a life of crime that they were taught. Life of violence that was instilled in them from small. So what has to be done are values instilled. You have to have the community and the good community to help raise your child. At this present moment, your neighbor cannot talk to your child. One day we see my friend wheel up and see her come to the doors and say, why that look good? Go and try it. Roll up 2 people and try that thing and look at it like, I don't go no further. It's an experience and kids will always want to try. But if you instill the quality in them before, when they do try, they don't stray. But if you allow them to try first, and then you're going to try and change them, they're gone. Because they look at what they get first. It's been good. That's the platform. So there's so many issues that faces us today that it's not going to just take one person. And I say each individual take away something from here and make a change to one person, and there's a whole lot to do. Question.
Thank you very much. I'll try to be brief. I believe that our situation when it comes to gun violence is much more nuanced than what values we're giving the children and what's available to them. The fact is we're dealing with systemic issues that are a result of government policy that bleed into things like poverty, that bleed into things like underfunded schools, that bleed into situations where people are left with few other options. So for example, the City of Toronto just put in, the motion was just put in the City of Toronto to ban the sale of small arms bullets in the city. And if you ask me, that's not the right solution, because the fact of the matter is the guns are coming here illegally. And the fact of the matter is that in order to draw people away from a life of crime and all of that and all these other activities, we need to look at creating, as a community, alternatives. So instead of trying to say, let the neighbor talk to them, we need to create programs and we need to create safe spaces for children to go and to learn the values, sometimes independent of the home. Because sometimes in the home, it's not safe. Trauma and the things that raise a violent person are generational. And like you mentioned, if someone is working 3 jobs, they may not have the energy or they may not have the time to be able to provide the type of guidance that their children need. They themselves may not have received that guidance. But if we as a community create the necessary programs to give children places to go to get that type of value, and we can lobby the government for funding, or as a community we can raise the funds to support these programs, then that then creates a situation where these children can go and learn alternatives, learn skills like conflict resolution. I can tell you in a lot of the places where I grew up, a lot of people solve their issues through violence. I can't begin to tell you the amount of times somebody tried to bust my head open with a stone because they didn't have the language to be able to address the way that they were feeling and what issues were bothering them. And sometimes their violent reaction is a displacement of a type of frustration that they're feeling. So we need to create the safe spaces for children to be able to go to analyze those feelings, to be able to articulate those feelings, and to be able to find constructive outlets for the energy that they have. No child is born a bad person, and I don't think that most parents have any malicious intent towards their children, but we need to support as a community. And I think that if we use a combination of community-oriented activities supported by government policy, we'll be able to create the necessary conditions to raise a safer and more productive generation. Sorry for taking too much time.
I want to speak to a piece that he spoke about. So, personally, I've been a community worker now for 30 years. I've created and been a part of programs from the City of Toronto. I can name them. The solution isn't a program. Far from. We've had programs. They exist, but people don't attend them. It becomes a revolving door. I will tell you what the parents do. They drop off their youths and they're gone. Personally, some of those parents need those programs more than those children do. We live in a place where people don't talk about it, be about it. The people that are talking are not the people that are partaking in the pieces that are being delivered. We are referred to as we're disenfranchised, we're marginalized, we're at risk, and I can give you more labels that is used. Community needs to partake in the conversation to make the change. A journey of 1,000 miles begin with a single step. Many of us are not willing to take that step. That step is going to require you to come out of your comfort zone. You understand? If you don't look like what you see it to be like, or what the people you roll with see it to be like, you don't want to partake in it. I have done community programs where I have the sisters in the community. Yeah, send your picnic over there, sir. What are you doing? Yeah, send your picnic over there. What are you doing? And these are the same people, when the picnic get in a trouble, they're coming to me. Can you sign? They need some community hours. I want to get to them before the community hours is needed. That's what community work is about. Everyone inside here, we're held accountable and responsible, all right? And we have to be able to make a commitment to take on people that are not ours. That's where we run into trouble.
Yes, I agree with that totally. And I put a twist on this. I really think there's a lot of loose vessels, and we need to put back God in our school, praying in our school. Because there's empty vessels, and the devil find empty vessels to work in. You know what I'm saying? So with all what's going on, I believe prayer and God needs to go back in our school system, in our homes. All of that needs to start right there, so we don't have the empty, loose vessels run around so the devil can use them.
It's about foundation, and another step up, it's about groundation. Without a proper foundation, you cannot be grounded. And that's what we're missing. I hear one young lady talk about the elders. Who are elders now? What do elders look like? When I step to a youth and I say I'm an elder, they look at me like, what are you saying? Where is the community? What does the community look like? We look to the elders for the foundation because they have the knowledge. They've been there. Lloyd, you're an elder. You've been there. You've done that. You've seen things in the community. The challenge is, where are the elders and what do elders look like? We have people who are older, considered to be elders, running competition with the young women and the young men. Right? And I won't take back my talk. The age come off a calendar, it's gone upon gate post. Take a step back. This is your teachable moment. Not your moment to be running competition. We've all been there, done that. We know street, we know road. You understand? Now is your time to take your street knowledge, your road knowledge, grab the youths them, and teach them some things. We're not telling you to go and preach to them. That there's a difference. Have the real conversation. When they're in your circle, let every moment be a teachable moment. Whether it be in dancehall, whether it be in church, whether it be on the street corner, whatever it be, let that moment be a teachable moment. I'm not licking out against nobody, not burn down nobody, not burn out no fire nobody. I'm just saying accountability and responsibility always come back, because without a foundation, you don't have a groundation. You can't be grounded.
Okay. So before I turn it over to Yellow, is there anyone in the audience that have a question or comment? Everyone over there? She's coming.
Thank you. So I agree with a lot of what you've all said. For me personally, it's actually very interesting how life comes full circle, because we're standing just blocks away from the building where my mother attempted suicide when I was 8 years old, and I witnessed her doing it. And she did it because she thought that that was the only escape from domestic violence, right? And I developed post-traumatic stress disorder from that. And I remember I promised myself, because my father was incredibly abusive, very violent, very aggressive. And I remember I hated him growing up. I really hated him, and I remember I promised myself that I was never going to be like him. But I always had very angry urges within me. I was always angry, I was always irritable, I always wanted to get violent. I didn't allow myself to do it, but I always had the urge to do it because I had untreated, undiagnosed post-traumatic stress disorder. And so I think one of the big problems, especially in the Black community, is the under-recognition and under-treatment of mental health issues, especially like post-traumatic stress disorder. And that has a lot to do with the dehumanization of Black people. We're not seen, especially like the strong Black woman syndrome, we're not seen as human beings a lot of times, and that stems from racist policies that said that Black people were subhuman, right? And so when we manifest anger or violence, we're looked at as criminals as opposed to people who need healing. And this is an trauma, like my partner said, is intergenerational, right? And we're even seeing now that there's pioneers in science that are seeing that
everybody. As you know, it's the one and only Brooklyn here with Alicia Cinnamon. Yes, honey. Before, we were taping, me and her were chopping it up a little bit, getting to know each other, and she's a real cool chick. So, of course, Worldwide Entertainment TV, we have to cover her story to let everybody know what's going on, where she at now, and where she's going to be later. So you ready, girl? Because I am. Yes, honey. So the last time we spoke with you, Worldwide Entertainment TV, you were in Atlanta. So could you tell us about the whole experience visiting the Tupac Center and Miss Goldie?
Beyond that sky, it's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Hello, my name is Alicia Cinnamon, and the first song that I'm going to sing for you is a song that I wrote in 2013 for a young man named Tyson Bailey, who was gunned down in Regent Park. His murder still remains unsolved, so I wrote this song after performing at his funeral just to kind of preserve his memory in a positive light. So this song right here is called I Can't Breathe. Men in the city who don't necessarily have elders to look out to talk to reach out to. So if you're an older man inside of the building and you know there's a youth that's kind of going in the opposite direction, just take that 5 or 10 minutes, sit him aside and have some positive conversations, because you don't necessarily know what's going on inside of the houses of a lot of these children. A lot of them are growing up in unstable environments and things like that, and don't necessarily have somebody to look up to. So I feel like as an artist, it's my obligation to use my platform to discuss, issues that affect our community. So this is the opportunity that I feel like I'm going to take. It's still not working? Here we go. You were just 15. Life would cut short. number one. Jack of all trades, and he did things the right way. Mama, don't cry. He is by God's side, and he don't sleep at night, so you don't know why. We gotta do it all this pain, and this suffering. When's it gonna end? Can it all just go away? In this world of life, I feel like I gotta break through. I feel like I gotta break away. In this world of life, I feel like I gotta break through. I know I gotta. Can I talk to y'all for a minute? Is this what our ancestors died for? So that we can become the oppressors of ourselves? All this hatred among us has gotta end. Remember, you come from kings and queens. Show your wealth. Young ladies, respect your bodies as well as your mind. Young men, it's not a weakness to be kind. You only live once, so live it wise. Your time will come when you have to answer to the Most High. In this world of life, I feel like I gotta break through. I feel like I gotta break away. In this world of life, I feel like I gotta break through. I feel like I gotta break away. In this world of life, I feel like I gotta break through. I feel like I gotta break away. Rest in peace to anybody who's lost somebody to gun violence. That song right there is called I Can't Breathe. So the next, thank you. It's okay to clap. Alright, so the next song that I'm going to do for you is called I'm Ready, and it's basically about being ready for a change to come. So let's do this. Yeah.
y'all. Once again, peace.
Just like I don't know, it's like I've never had a woman brush me off before, but I've definitely had women that have like stolen ideas from me. Definitely had women that have spread like nasty rumors about me. Definitely had women that, you know, have tried to fight me, you know, have fought me, like, you know, so and these are, you know, I love all of them. Like, these are, I don't hold any malicious intent towards them, because when you are, I put myself in a position, like when you call yourself the Queen of the North, you expect people to come for you.
And so I think the big issue is definitely systemic. There has to be better policies out there, like from banking policies to educational policies to healthcare. But I think we also, as well as fighting to shape policy, we need to take the time, I think you mentioned that, to heal from within, to do the personal healing, to do the familial healing, like the intergenerational healing, really looking at our stories, analyzing our stories, telling our stories, creating safe places to tell the stories so we can heal on an emotional level. Because a lot of Black people especially, we suffer from emotional dysregulation. We're always taught not to express our emotions. Don't cry. What's crying gonna do? Shut up, man up, you're acting like a woman, don't express your emotion. And so then men become violent, right? And women don't have an outlet. And so I think it's about doing the healing work from within, but then also creating those programs and those policies, but creating them from that context, from a context of where we're healed and now we're transforming our community. So thank you.
Good evening everybody. My name is Michael Smith, aka Yellow. Alright, I'm not a person of many words. I've been working in the community for approximately 20 plus years in the Vaughan Road and Eglinton community. And the things that I've seen and stuff that I've experienced, my word tonight to everybody, one word is invest. What I mean by invest is invest time in our youth. That's if we, all of us here, take the time out to invest, it makes a big, big difference. And I don't think you understand, right? Just to give you just a quick story. I had a child that was probably about 10 years ago, who he just kept, every day he come into the community center, he just keep on giving problems after problems after problems. So I interjected, tried to call his parents. He, for some reason, it was just, he's coming from a single parent home. Tried to call his mom many, many times. Every time I call her, she says, I have to go to work, I have to go to work. I can't come now, I can't come now. Right? So I waited about 3 weeks. She came into the community center. When she came in, she just started bawling. Just started bawling because she knew whatever that's going on with her child is directly because the time is not there for her to invest in it. Right? So again, that word invest goes a long, long way. And I'm sure 90% of us in here are parents, right? Whether invest in your child, invest in your community, I'm sure everybody lives in an area where there's a community center. Just walk into the community center, see what's going on with our youth, see what they're doing on a day-to-day basis when they're not in your presence, right? Or if they're not in the community center, get them there, right? Or start at home, start teaching them the right things. Stop exposing them to the wrong things. All right? Thank you.
I just want to, bring out the story which I identify 1992. Going to dance and seeing a lot of young ladies. And I think they were see that there's certain qualities that are missing out of their life. And it's all because there was nobody at home to teach them. And it started this pageant. It started from the Miss Lloyd's photography pageant. Now it's the Miss Caribbean Canada pageant. And the aim and objective is to instill into young ladies to be entrepreneurs and role model within the community. And that is just one step. And we have bred quite a few young ladies over the years. That there's one young lady that I'll never forget. She won the pageant at age 17, the youngest girl ever won the pageant. Presently, she owns and operates a television station in Vancouver and the Mr. and Miss Vancouver pageant. And she said to me one day, Mr. Dwyer, you saved my life because I was going down the wrong road. And when she won the pageant, she went back to school and educate herself to be where she is. So education and inspiration and that person just to say to you, you can do it. And as I say, each one inside here take on the role of saving one person, just one person. It will multiply. So that's a task in which you're going to ask everybody to do. So in the streets, you're going to step out there. So, you know, one person mentioned the community center. It's a very good place. Because one says, how many parents allow their kids to go there? And how many parents really take the time to invest, as Yella said. Invest is a very big word. But there's just another thing to it. He said the mother take 3 weeks before because she had to work. You know what could happen within that 3 weeks? So there's a lot of problems. Social problem, economic problem, and all of these is really that supports the whole aspect of violence. So solutions are little steps in which we have to take and make and lobby the government. Not for just getting more money, but put into the school, as Nikki said, God. We don't pray anymore. You go to school, and I think the last government passed a law that said, if your child come home and said, Mommy and Daddy, I want to be a boy, and you do not allow that child to be a boy, you're denying that child fundamental rights, and you could be locked up. So when things like this start happening, what do you do? You grow, your child is not in your hand anymore. And these are some of the things we're looking forward for. Question?
So when I heard that one morning, I was reading on the morning. Oh, so sorry. Can you hear me? So sorry, I'm forever whispering. But I read it one day. I was reading something on my phone, and it said it's Kathleen's Wynn that said that. I'm being rude, but it was Kathleen's Wynn that said the same thing you said. However, thank God, she's not there no more. Don't worry about your opinion. They're commenting anything to you, and then will come and tell you, no, you can't say that to them. Of course you can. If you're born a girl, you sit to pee. If you're born a boy, you stand. Don't say that. The school can't come and confuse your child. How you can pick, you cannot pick. It's whatever you came out as, you shall. Not with you. So yes, so it's no longer that. That's scaring people, especially black people, saying, hey, you can take your child away from you if you don't say yes. No, it's not like that anymore. I tell you that.
So I'm gonna make two. You have another question? Okay, sure, come on now.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on? I pretty much agree with what everybody has said, from the political side, like this gentleman said here, to the spiritual side, to the economic side, to the family side. Honestly, I think it's all one thing, and the way in which I view spirituality and science to be considered one thing, actually, a few hundred years ago. But you have one group of people selling drugs, and you have a next group of people who are academics or using drugs. You know what I mean? I got some of my friends are drug dealers, the other one of my friends is some PhD guys, and they use bare cocaine. So what's the difference, right? They're both setting themselves up for death. And it doesn't matter what society, throughout history, there's always been people who have been engaged more in violence, and there was another portion of society that engaged more in usage of drugs and orgies and all kind of crazy stuff. You see people with sex change, so people are headed towards death. It's just the visual is different, right? And a lot of us, I know we might say economics is a real thing, poverty is a real thing, but I think in this particular case, the type of killing we're seeing, I think it's heavily cultural. And you might say you might not believe me, but look at Brampton, Ontario. Brampton, they're shooting out there too. They're shooting just as much out there with just the crazy same machine they're shooting out there. And it's the suburbs. I saw a shooting last week, and you look at it, houses are big. You know, but it's the same gunman, right? Because it's the same culture, it's the same spirit, the same demon that these guys are dealing with. And it's the lens that they view themselves with is the same lens. Where next man might see the man and go, yo, you're fake. And he's like, well, that's what you say, that's not how I see myself. You know what I mean? So I think it's how people view themselves. Because I have some of my brethren, actually the craziest out of all my brethren, like, this guy talks in third person, he's actually a white guy. This guy, he's Greek, he talks more patois than me. But it's where we live in Toronto, right? You know what I mean? It's a place where anybody can kind of be anybody they want to. And I don't know, I think that's the reality. It's just how people view themselves. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're headed toward a fast death or a slow death, it's about, do you know where you're going after you die?
What kind of upsets me right now is that we're doing something right now for a cause, a good cause. And we as black people right now, we can't even give the respect to the people who are talking. You understand? You guys are up there talking. I understand it's a lounge thing, but right now we're doing this for a purpose. Let's have a little more respect. You know what I mean? As black people. Because one day it's gonna come knocking on our doors. Read your Bible. It tells you. You understand? So, I don't know. We need God back in our lives. We need God back in our schools. We need the parents then to start forcing our kids back into the church then. You understand? Because back in the days, we were forced to go to church. We didn't have no choice. That school bus was coming, or that van was coming to pick us up. We need to force the kids back into the church. We need some more mentors in our communities. You know what I mean? I know I call them OGs, the original gangsters. We need some of those guys back in our communities that are going to see the kids, the little young wannabe thugs, in the streets and beat them back into school, if that's what we have to do. We need some of those back in, because like Lloyd is saying, parents right now, we're busy. We're working 2 jobs because most of us are single parents. We're working 2 jobs to try to maintain our little metro housing. You understand? So we need to start educating our kids. We need to start bringing God back into our lives. And we need to start putting our foot down in our community. And that's all of us in the community. We need to start doing that. Stop being scared, because these little kids, they're not real gangsters. Most of them are only wannabes. And most of them are only doing things to prove things to their friends. If you take them on that one way, that one strong wannabe apple, right? Take them on the one way or take her on the one way, and I guarantee you can change that person's life. Just try it. Because kids right now, they need that guidance. The kids them. Forget the adults. The adults have already made the decision, but we need to start from the root, the kids them. Because they're our future. You understand? So that's all I have to say on that. And yeah.
Thank you so much to the panelists. We're going to take a quick interlude and finish our performances because we're soon close up for the night. So we're going to have the beautiful and talented K Music come up here.
Supposed to be what was struggle is free. Oh, yeah, the struggle is free. Oh, working hard for a better life, yeah. Oh, the struggle is free. Let me tell you about it. Life is what you make it. No matter what you do, but the struggle is free. I live in a world where there is no war and strife. No political warfare.
Another acapella.
Blessed. What the money will I say last say I? Rastafari. Yeah, I mean I'm Jayu, aka I'm Black Son. Yeah, but there's some burn up the gunman them. You see what I say? I'm melt on all gunman and all wicked man, you see? Yeah. Right now, I just want everybody to know in our earth right now we need blessed love. You see, because the love no flow, and the opposite to love have a flow. You see what I say? So we need the love to flow. You see, we need everybody to unite and build our energy. So that's something what I'm going to sing. It's called murder rate. You see what I say? Because right now the murder rate will go up, you see. And we don't do like that. You see? Alright. The murder rate is going up. It's going up. And time to bring it down. The murder rate is going up. It's going up. My people look around. The murder rate is going up. It's going up. Our time to bring it down. The murder rate is going up. It's going up. My people look around. So take back your gun. Cause we don't want no more. Get on you blood run. We want back with music. We funding the sun. And hear good fights till morning come. Big sound swing up a big get a jump. And no shot now fire. Nobody no park run. And the fire bomb. The children are playing and I run up and down. And no more mothers now bury them. So the murder rate is going up. It's going up. And time to bring it down. The murder rate is going up. It's going up. My people look around. The murder rate is going up. It's going up. And time to bring it down. The murder rate is going up. It's going up. My people look around. Yo, this is a message to the kings and queens. We don't want no more violence. We don't want no more crime scene. Dash where the Glock, dash where the 16. Dash where the clip, dash where the magazine. Proud of your color, dash where the skin cream. Time to the fight, just time for your live clean. Unity, circle, make we start the team. We don't want no more shot up, beat up in the scheme. The murder rate is going up. It's going up. Holy money when I King Selassie, I Rastafari, bless.
Thank you, thank you. The Diva is spinning. The Diva is straight back in. We're going to have Nikki Dance performing just a minute. All right.